Welcome back guys. You want to get better at PvP or maybe just know a lot more about the game? Well, these are some advanced tips I wish I knew before starting Deadside. First up, safe zones. These are two of the most important locations on the entire map. One is located down in I7 and the other further north in H4, both marked with a large yellow circle. And why are they so crucial? Each safe zone has its own steel-proof storage, meaning only you can access it. And here's the best part, they're not shared between each other, which means you can store double the loot safely. If you purchase the 9 pound expansion or 8 pound something, each storage increases from 12 to 18 slots for both locations. You can also use the fast travel system to move between them quite easily. Just go to this NPC, found any of the railway symbols on the map. Fast traveling between traders always costs 6k, but traveling to other locations can range up to 13k depending on the distance. So if you're looking to play smart and protect your loot, mastering these safe zones is essential. Store your best guns, explosives, everything in here. In case you didn't know, there's a workbench, a couple of them, within each safe zone where a trader is present. For the H4 one, it's usually next to the trader. And for the one in I7, it's right near the back entrance. But here's something you need to watch out for, especially in the I7 safe zone. There are only two main entrances, both restricted by narrow bridges, right here and here. That makes it a prime spot for campers. Players will often wait just outside these choke points or even follow you when you leave, hoping to catch you off guard with a full inventory. So always be alert when you're entering or exiting I7, it's not as safe as it looks. And it gets worse, those campers, they're not just after you, they're after your car or your bike as well. A common trick is to wait until you're parked and steal your vehicle and everything inside, and just leave. So always use a vehicle lock. It'll keep your car and all your loot safe. Cars can't be destroyed inside safe zones, not with nades or bullets, but without a lock they can be stolen. Lock lasts for 30 minutes, but here's a trick. Just hop into the car before the timer runs out or at any point and it'll reset automatically. Even though they can't blow up your car in a safe zone, what they can do is place a explosive charge in a really hidden area like here, just below, just above the tire, and then they can use a radio detonator to detonate the car as soon as you get outside the safe zone. So make sure to thoroughly check your car if there's a couple of people in the safe zone so this doesn't happen to you. You can now die in the safe zone if you don't have enough food or water, and then people can loot your body, so make sure you are well fed and hydrated. If you do die in a safe zone, it's a usually very populated area, you will lose your loot. If you're playing as a squad and trying to increase your reputation rank, here's a pro tip. Focus on one teammate at a time. Where reputation takes a ton of valuable items, well, it takes just generally a ton of items to be sold to level up. So instead of spreading it thin across everyone, get one squad member to max rank first. The rest of them can still get loot from you. You can just buy it and drop it for them, and they can still get any of the higher level stuff like the heavy assault helmet MK2, so it won't slow things down. This way you can unlock higher tier trader benefits way faster and then rotate to the next squad member afterwards. Next up is gear durability, which is everything. Your gun and armor health can literally decide whether you win or lose a fight. Always check your weapon's condition by hovering over it. If it's in the red, it's likely to jam randomly during combat, which can completely ruin a firefight. Also, don't just look at the jam risk when your weapon is damaged. A gun that's in orange or worse doesn't just lose accuracy, it loses damage too. For example, this Grom here is only hitting for 25 damage instead of its usual 36 just because of its condition. That's a massive drop off. So before any big raid, or if you're expecting heavy PvP, make sure your weapon is at least green. It might just be the difference between surviving or losing everything. Now here's how to manage it smartly. Break down extra guns and armor for parts. You can use those parts to repair other gear at the workbench. Using those weapon or armor parts, you can then repair any gun that you want, that is maybe yellow to almost up to green, depending on how many parts it needs. If it's highly worn, you need more parts. If it's less worn, you of course need less. This also means if you have a gun that's highly worn out, you will get less armor parts or weapon parts in return. To repair the best armor in the game, i.e. the MK2 helmet or the heavy assault vest, you need a lot of Kevlar and armor plates. Now Kevlar is easy to come by. Just dismantle low tier gear like police vests, but the real bottleneck is armor plates. Those are way harder to find and can only be dismantled from higher tier gear like the assault vest or the MK1 helmet. If you want consistent high tier loot, hit convoys. They usually have heavy assault vest and an MK2 helmet, though both come at half health. Just be careful, convoys are highly contested, players love to camp them and steal your loot right after the fight. Best time to run them, late at night or early morning when lobbies are quieter, less PvP, more loot. Don't just copy YouTube builds step by step. When we were raiding live on stream, chat kept saying this is a YouTube build, and sure enough we found the storage unit instantly. And if you've seen my beginner's guide, you already know once you find the storage, you basically have full access to the base. So I think learn the basics. Understand how base layouts work, build something your own way. It's the only way to actually stay safe. But remember, every base is raidable. Also, if you found this helpful so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're pushing for 10k subscribers and we stream almost every day at 7 PM UK time. So come hang out live, ask questions, or even join us on our server. We'd love to play or hear from you. Learn the basics of a honeycomb structure, i.e. making a lot of doors, a lot of different pathways, different rooms inside your base. Just keeping them guessing where your actual control unit might be. And the idea is to have these higher foundations, triangular foundations, as they are stronger than walls. So the basic principle is you make a room, you make a couple more triangular foundations, and at the end of those you add a square foundation to create another room, and then you can have raised foundations around them. Utilize this principle in your base and make your own base, hide your control unit, make it complicated, almost like a labyrinth, so only you and your team knows where to go. In terms of base location, if you're playing solo or duo, build your base hidden deep in the woods. It's way harder to find and way easier to defend, especially if you're a smaller squad. But if you're a bigger squad, go for flat open land instead. Trying to build on uneven terrain with multiple teammates is just a nightmare. It becomes really difficult to create raised foundations due to the level of the ground. Trust me, it's not worth the hassle, especially as you can't break any structure down anymore after the 15-minute timer has passed, making it a lot more difficult to build around your base. Try creating a tower around your base, some sort of tower to have higher ground in case someone does push you. Makes it a lot easier to defend, and also have a couple of beds around this area if you have to re-gain if they've finally entered it. It gives you another entrance to your base. You can also hide your control unit inside the foundation. It's a bit weird, you can like clip through it. I'll show you exactly how to do it in a second, but you can hide it then with a shelf in front of it, making it a lot harder to find. So if you have a couple of foundations around where you want to put the storage unit, if you turn it, you can almost push it into the wall. You have to play around with it a bit. As you can see here, you can almost make it almost disappear almost in there. And then if you put a shelf or something in front of it, it's really difficult to find. It does clip through, but it's quite easy to fix. Just add another foundation around it and it literally disappears. Another really useful tip, if you have a foundation with a door, if you play around with it a bit, you can put in another foundation, like a separate one. It's not part of the structure, with another scaffold. And what this will do is you can get like this weird thing where you have two doors. So if you open one, you have another door right behind it. Play around with it. It's a really confusing way if they do decide to come through your doors to have two doors right next to each other. Makes it really confusing for them. But whatever you do, make sure you make everything on branch first until you're sure this is my base. Just because if the 50-minute timer does pass, you can at least break down branch a lot easier as it's only 30 health. Trust me, done it wrong many times and we had to build around it. Makes it really difficult. You might have seen this comfort level stat around the base. It's actually not well explained how useful it is. Comfort level is increased by adding flags or tables, chairs, TV, something that you might find around, dartboards, these trophies they use, taxidermy basically. They're quite useful because depending on the comfort level of your base, you get different advantages if you do respawn there. I'll show you right now. With each level you gain a different advantage. At the final level you start off with more health. This could be detrimental in fights if you respawn, someone's pushing your base. So make sure to level up your comfort level, start placing these different trophies down. Helps the team, helps you. Since the latest update, anything planked in above can no longer be broken with bullets, knives or axes. You have to use explosives now. But there's a trick, sometimes a breaching charge will leave a door at around 100 HP. Instead of wasting another full charge, just throw a grenade. They deal between 40 to 70 damage. And each can save you a ton of boom. When you're about to leave the game, make sure you have a stalker bag on. Fill every slot that you have, make sure it's full, take all of the best loot with you and then log off the game. That keeps the loot safe. If you don't have storage inside your safe zones anymore, just take them with you out, log off with it and it can't be stolen anymore. As you might already know, the best spot to farm explosives is down at the military base. Start at K10 where you'd usually find 2 tents with a couple of dynamite and a bunker full of loot. From there head south to the first warehouse in L10, then hit the 2 warehouses in the middle of L11. Next move a bit further north to the cluster of buildings near M10 and loot back to the buildings in the middle of L10 and finish up looting the nearby tents just north of here. This full route gives you the best shot at stacking dynamite, breaching charges, and another boom all in one run. However, this area, as we know this information, other people do as well, and it's always highly contested. There's going to be a lot of cars driving around, a lot of people coming around, and it's just very contested, so you have to be careful. People love to wait around corners, drive around, wait for you to get the loot and then just kill you and then drive off. So make sure you are aware of your surroundings. Solo, this run is really difficult. Take it even slower. Just make sure to check your surroundings. This is the best spot and everyone knows it. Make sure to bring at least 2 keys with you whenever you get to this area. It's because these 4 buildings marked on the map have usually a locked chest, at least one, maybe multiple. So bring a couple of keys with you. They have the best guns in the game with a cam on top of it, so you can find the M99 or the LMG or any other AR that you might want, usually in these chests, so make sure to pick them up. Alright, let's talk about PvP. First of all, to win most of your gunfights, you would want to have the best armor in the game. This includes the heavy assault vest and of course the MK2 helmet. Just remember, a worn heavy assault vest will have less protection than an assault vest, so make sure to hover over the item and check before you go out. The best way to get good guns, in my opinion, is either doing these epic missions. You can get a lot of loot, a lot of parts to repair your normal guns, or you hit these convoys. The convoy usually has something on him, but in my opinion it's still the epic missions. And of course keys, as mentioned before. If you go to a sniper, for example, it's good to know this sniper here does 150 damage, so if you are wearing assault vest, an MK2 helmet, that's already 160 just on its own, on top of the 100 health that you have. So snipers are not one shot anymore, so be mindful of that if you are pushing. And if someone doesn't go down with the first snipe, it's probably because they are wearing heavy armor. Now if you're playing third person, utilize your third person mode. You can look around corners. You can see sometimes something you can't see in first person. Like a first person, you would have to then peek out, but you can see this in third person. Often there are servers where third person is off, so make sure you can go into third person by pressing the right stick down. Another useful tip is if you have a gun, make sure it's out before you go into a car, so you just have to press Y once and you have the gun out as soon as you come out the car. Also, make sure that your middle slot is empty. Do not equip a knife, make sure it's empty. This allows you to cycle through your weapons a lot quicker. For example, if I press Y now, I go straight to my SMG. If I had a knife in between, I would have to then see there's always a lag in between when you're changing, so make sure it's empty. Drop it, you don't really need a knife in a gunfight. In my opinion, the best loadout in the game is to have an AR with the sniper. It gives you the most versatility in most gunfights, allows you to win gunfights a lot easier if they're a bit further away, a bit closer. However, if you are raiding and you're inside a building, having someone with a shotgun is lethal. These shotguns are amazing in the game, way too strong close quarters. You will win almost any gunfight quite easily, so make sure if you are raiding close quarters, go take a shotgun with you, at least maybe in a bag. And on the final notes are nades. If you throw a nade, just normally pressing RT or R2, it will just throw a nade down wherever you are approximately aiming. If you're crouching and you throw a nade, it will roll the nade. So this is something I found out recently. If you want to have it quite close, it's sometimes hard to aim these nades, so if you sit down, you can sometimes just place it where you're standing and then run away. As you might be aware, as soon as you break any structure on part of a base, a raid block will start. The raid block prevents you from building anything, so anything you build will be at 1 health, and you can't upgrade it until 60 seconds have passed. So you can still upgrade it, but you have to wait 60 seconds. So if someone is currently raiding you, they just have to shoot once and break that wall, and the raid timer resets. Be careful, once this raid icon appears on the map, everyone can see it, and this is something you call a counter raid. Once you are raiding, this icon appears on the map. A lot of people will start pushing in, trying to basically claim the loot for themselves. They don't have to use any explosives. You've done most of the work trying to get into the base, and they might be waiting around bushes just to snipe you, pick up whatever you have on you and then dip. So it's always good to have a lookout somewhere placed a bit further away that's not looting inside the base with you guys, just to check the surroundings, see if anyone's pushing or hiding while the rest of the team is looting inside. The maximum squad size is 5. However, this does not mean it's also 5 on the control unit. You could have a 10, 11, 15 man squad on a control unit, working in shifts to make sure there's always someone on base. But don't be deceived by that 5-man squad limitation. We have seen many times where people have been running in larger numbers. Alright, I'm going to show you probably the best settings in my opinion for Deadside console. First up, have your FOV maxed out, tracers on. Down here, these don't matter too much. It depends if you are streaming or not. Under the sound, reduce music if you want. You can have it 0%. It's not really needed. You want to hear steps and everything else better. I have got the type B preset. It allows me to tilt by pressing RB or LB or R1 or L1 just once. If you go type A, you have to hold it. I find it weird to hold RB and then use my middle finger to shoot. I just don't find it comfortable. Depends what you like, but I think this one works the best. It also allows you to use the hotbar wheel with L1 and the free camera with R1. So it's just a lot smoother rather than using a D-pad. If you have the type A preset, you will have to hold down the right stick to use the free camera. And I think it just makes it a bit janky trying to hold down the right stick and then look around. My vehicle preset, I've also left it be. It doesn't really make too much of a difference which one you choose. Controller wise, I'm playing on a no aim assist server, so I've got no aim assist. That's why I've got my right stick dead zone a tiny bit up. But if you do have some sort of small stick drift, it's not a bad thing. Aim assist kicks in easier if you have some constant movement in your right stick. So play around with this value. In terms of my sensor values, I've got them both at 110 and the aim sensitivity at 90. What this allows you is when you're walking around normally without aiming in, you can still move around quite quickly, but then when you aim in, that setting is at 90. It reduces a bit so it's easier to aim. Acceleration, turn that off straight away, or have this at 0%. What this does is if you have this max, will add this weird acceleration value to it, and to make it quicker after a short while. It's really horrible, don't use it. So make sure this is off. Just for good measure, make sure this is 0%. That's it. There have been a couple of people in the chat asking for my settings, and here they are. So hope this helps you out, and I'll see you in the next one.